Hey Laura and John, it's Monday, February 28th. You're getting a different view of my room because I'm trying to capture natural light, which means that I'm not doing it at the last second. So today we're going to talk about H.R. 1, or the Full Year Continuing Appropriations Act. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention this is going to be a little political. So H.R. 1 is, as you would expect, an appropriations bill. This means it's the kind of bill that authorizes the government to spend money. Now, I'm not going to get into the content of the bill itself, I'm more interested in the amendments. While the bill itself has a lot of effects, there's only one vote on it, whereas each amendment has just one effect, and there's a vote on each one. So you can track how each congressman votes on each separate provision. Because I'm quite selfish, I'm most interested in how my congressman voted. I'm still officially a resident of the California 50th District. Our congressman is Brian Bilbray, who's a Republican. Now as congressmen go, he's actually not that bad. He's well-spoken, he's thoughtful, he has concern for data, and on the whole, he's not an ideologue, which is why I was surprised by some of his votes on the amendments of H.R. 1. Now, I actually called the congressman's office to talk to someone about this, and I was told that email was probably the better venue for it, and that's fine, so I've written an email. My first concern, and probably the biggest one, is the Pence Amendment. The Pence Amendment bans any money from going to fund Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood currently receives over $300 million of federal funding. Now here's the funny thing, Congressman Pence, who offered the amendment, made a lot of noise about how Planned Parenthood is the nation's largest provider of abortions. But under the Hyde Amendment, more info in the description, federal funding can't go to fund abortions. So all the federal funding that Planned Parenthood was getting couldn't go to abortion, it was going to their other services, including cancer screening, HIV testing, birth control, and other life-saving services. So my question is, why did Congressman Bilbray and the majority of the House vote to eliminate that funding? My second problem has to do with an amendment offered by Representative Betty McCollum. It's designated House Amendment 92, and it failed. The amendment would have eliminated all funding to NASCAR from the Department of Defense. Now, I actually didn't know this before this amendment came up, but the Department of Defense spends millions of dollars advertising on NASCAR, paying for the stickers on the race cars. Now, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I actually like NASCAR. I like the way they turn left a lot, I like the juking around each other, I think it's a lot of fun. That said, I don't think taxpayer money should be going to fund NASCAR. I don't think it should be going to fund the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, or the MLB either, but that's just me. Anyway, Congressman Bilbray voted against that amendment. In other words, he voted to continue funding NASCAR, and I would like to know why. My next problem? 3 amendments that cut funding for the EPA. Now the first, House Amendment 45, didn't pass, but it was slated to cut funding for EPA science and technology programs by $64 million, and Congressman Bilbray voted for that. Now House Amendments 47 and 48 did pass, and they reduced funding for the EPA by over $18 million. Congressman Bilbray voted for both. There was House Amendment 147, which would have banned project labor agreements. It didn't pass, but Congressman Bilbray voted for it. And House Amendment 162 would have prohibited Antiquities Act designation. Guys, I love the Antiquities Act. It allows the president to restrict the use of public lands, and it's how national parks happen. Again, that amendment didn't pass, but Congressman Bilbray voted for it. So all this information is publicly available, and I would encourage everyone to see how their legislator is voting. If you don't like it, let them know. It's a little idealistic to think that that's going to change how they vote in the future, but at least you're upholding your end of the Democratic bargain. But anyway, the moment we've all been waiting for. John, your punishment. Now Laura and I have decided that because you did have good reason to not make your video, it's not going to be too bad. So it's kind of more of a challenge. You're going to summarize a book you've never read. You're going to randomly generate a call number from the UBC library system. You're going to take that book out, you're going to read the first page, the last page, and a randomly selected middle page, and then you're going to tell us about it. If it happens to be fiction, describe the story to us. If it's nonfiction, teach us about the subject. Laura wanted you to read and summarize Twilight, John, but I didn't want to be that cruel, and I happened to be in the library when I got that email for her, and I looked over and there was a book called Translating Sanskrit Manuscripts. Now, I would love it if you taught me how to translate Sanskrit manuscripts, but we'll see how the random generator turns out. John, I'll see you on Wednesday. Laura, have a good week, and I'll Skype you sometime soon. Also, I know you guys have been saying to yourself through the whole video, man, my brother is beardy, and yeah, I know I need to shave. Shut up.